Tech. Actually, this ain't the B-Boy Tech. I'm B-Boy Tech. And welcome to the Beat People Show. This is the May edition, episode 5. We've been doing this for 5 long months.
Yeah.
And so here we go. We got the usual suspects. Let me go through and introduce everybody. We got my man Upright, Bryce, the modular beatsmith. What's up, bro?
What's up, everybody? Chilling. Just a Saturday. I'm off work. Just happy to be here, man. I do want to say I'm a little upset. I just bought this Electron analog rhythm, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm having some issues with it. They're already sending me another one, but when I use the overbridge or whatever, when I connect it overbridge, I'm getting this like sawtooth oscillator sound. So when I disconnect it from overbridge, it works fine. But so there's some issues there. So they're sending me a new one. But other than that, man, I'm good.
Good, man. I told you I had that problem too, and mine was good after I updated the OS. But yeah, once you showed me a couple things that's going on with yours, I think they sent you a limit.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They need to take care of that because that's going to taint this great machine. I don't want it to taint, what the machine is like. So let's get everybody introduced. My man D Steele in the place to be.
What's up?
What up, man? How you doing?
Just enjoying my day with wife and dog, chilling at the house, doing nothing, man.
Oh yeah, Con Weezy in the place to be.
He's back here just
he don't give a damn. Word up. We got my man Saint Joe. What up, Joe?
What up? Chilling.
Word up, man. Hey, so I see that touch is still sitting there next to the push 2. Which one gets the most use?
Out of these two, definitely push. Yeah.
Word. Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you, every time we've seen you, I'll never see that joint on.
Yeah, man. It's cool. I dig it, but I'm honestly, man, like I'm more excited for them. What I saw at NAMM with the audio tracks like that, like I think, once they release that update, I'll be more into it. Yeah.
Word. Let's see. Who else we got? We got Flux 302. What's up, bro?
That's me. Bryce, you should have got a high quality drum machine like this.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Ken.
Yo. Oh, he's got the. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually.
Oh no. Y'all like them joints, man?
Bro,
I can't stand it.
What is good though?
I run it.
Hold on, we're gonna talk about the drum machines.
We'll talk about drum machines in a bit.
It's gonna be a whole topic. So
let me just quick. So again, thanks for having me on again. The most recent thing that I've done is the Synthrotech MIDI to CV video, and I'm about to do and a follow up to that because I got the MIDI to CV expander. That's not out yet. It should be out soon. And I just did a overview of the Prophet 12 from Dave Smith versus the Novation Ultranova, which is, it's kind of like two polar opposite synths, but I tried my best to kind of pull the two together to contrast and compare them because they actually are fairly similar in a lot of ways. So that's what I've been doing.
That's pretty dope considering the price ain't similar at all.
Not similar even remotely, but there's a lot there. So if you head over to fluxwithit.com, you can check out that article. It's 4,077 words, so I know Joe's gonna read it all.
That's a book. He wrote a book, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
And then
Joe is against knowledge. He hates reading.
William McKnight, what's up, brother? How you feeling, man?
Man, feeling good on a lovely Saturday. It's 80 degrees here in Nashville, so I'm feeling warm.
Word up.
Weather away.
Hey, I got a lava lamp now, so I know what kind of heat that kick off. That lava lamp behind you could be the reason it's warm out there.
I got a lot of electronics in a compact space, so it gets really hot.
No doubt. Good to have you, man.
I just wanted to mention that I'm actually closing the Machine Warehouse. Well, we've closed Machine Warehouse. We've combined with Machine Masters, so I'm doing sound design for Machine Masters right So
Word up, word.
check over at Machine Masters. They'll be coming.
Oh, well,
Pretty
that's
soon.
on.
Yo,
Word, word. That's good moves, brother. That's good moves, and I like your pyramid or modular back there.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
Shot. It's about to
Woo!
be, I got
Man.
modules on the way.
Man.
yeah. And let's introduce our special guest today. Yo, Stoni, how you feeling?
Oh man,
Yo.
thank you. I feel good. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate it.
No doubt, it's good to have you on.
Yeah,
And I
Indeed.
know,
excited about all this tech talk and being in a room with my Roscoe crew.
Yes,
no
indeed.
doubt.
Yep.
That's what's missing. We should have ordered Roscoe's and shipped it around the nation to everybody.
Exactly. Exactly.
No doubt. So Stony, I'm sure people have seen you at various events and all kinds of pics and cameos with well-known producers and at events showing those guys and the rest of us how to use various machines and stuff. Why don't you tell us, for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm a music producer, technology expert. I've been doing this for a while. I came up, in the recording ranks, as a recording engineer, and I went from engineering to teching to making beats, and then started working in the with technology companies and consulting them about gear and training A-list producers. And it's funny because it's almost like I'm going back and forth because now I'm more transitioning into producing my own music now. So I've spent all these years helping other producers, and so now I'm helping myself, and I'm sharing my music and the creative side of what I do as opposed to the technical side. I've shared the technical side for years. So
Word.
now I want to share the creative aspect of things.
Well, it's good. You should though, because this is what you do, and people should hear that music that you're making and banging out. That's music makes the world go round. I'm glad to see you doing that.
Can I ask Stoni a real quick question?
Yeah.
You mentioned you're doing your own music. Is that like with vocalists, or is it just pretty much like a beat tape, or what kind of?
Well, this EP will be based on just the music,
Nice. Nice.
and honestly, I did it because the music was inside of me, and I just had to get it out. I had to get it out, and then I wanted to share it with people. I go to different workshops, and I teach all these different producers about how to, craft their own sounds. And the first thing they always ask me is, where can we hear your music? Where can we hear your music? So I just thought it'd be fair to put out a quality body of music and share with them. And then, once I put the music out, I will then open up other opportunities like workshops and DJ festivals and things like that, so that I could show them how I put all this music together. And this it's the first EP, so this is just the beginning of a body of work that I have coming. And I'm glad I'm doing this right now because there's so many artists that are out there. I'm around a lot of producers. I don't get a chance to be around a lot of artists, like rappers and people who want to do other things besides make beats. So this will actually open up an opportunity for me to engage with a different audience, artists, so they can hear the instrumentals and they can go, you know what, I might want something in this light. I might want something that sounds like this, and it might be something they've never heard before that inspire them and say, hey, well, let me reach out to her and let's build and work on projects together. So my goal is to actually create, like a production, not really a production team, but a network of people who are creative, and we could just get together and put out a great body of work.
Nice.
That's dope.
So
You've been doing that for it.
So the next EP I will feature artists. So if anybody's watching this and they want to work, they could just hit me up and we could just start the conversation.
Right. I'm excited to hear your work because like Corey said, you link up with so many different people, and I know you're a busy person, but to actually hear your production just in music format is going to be really dope. So I'm looking forward to that.
Stoni is a beat. Stoni is a beast.
I believe it.
I've been
That's what I
listening
was
to
gonna
Stoni's
say.
work for years. Like Stoni is beast. Like
Stoni-
I'm not running. I'm not playing. She's a beast.
Joe and I have been lucky enough to where we've gotten to know Stoni over the years. Like we've known Stoni a good long while now, so we get to kind of see what she's cooking up on her own free time, and it's good to hear that she's going to be dedicating actual, time to it, to let other people hear it, because every time she plays something, I'm like, man.
But honestly, guys like St. Joe and Ken, I mean, they've inspired me tremendously in the technology world. There've been times where I'll tell St. Joe, man, I'm not using that. He's like, you better chill. You just better chill. He always keep me in line. Like, not many people could tell me what to do, right? But like, St. Joe would call me and be like, what you doing, man? So I'm humbled, and I'm just so grateful to be in your guys' presence. All you guys are genius in what you're doing, and I love Beat People. I love everything y'all are doing, and I mean Ken. I've watched Ken go from like I'm never using anything but the MPC 2000 to like
where he is now.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man, that's still my baby.
Oh, here you go. Hey, you know what? I want to ask you a question, Stoni. And listen, I don't expect you to answer for every woman out there that makes music, but you know what I find is like the kind of music that we're all into, you don't find many women that are making music, many women beat makers and stuff that kind of roll in this circle and that get into this kind of stuff that we're into. Like, how'd you get into all of this stuff?
Well, I went to school for music, and I was fortunate enough that I met, I don't think I've ever told the story, but I was fortunate enough that I met Spike Lee a long time ago, and I had a conversation, and he said, what do you want to do? And I knew that I had to get, like, money to live, like pay rent and have a regular job, and I wanted any job that I did to be affiliated with music in some kind of way. So I spoke to him, and I think I was either stagehand or I was doing something, some sound something, or interning somewhere. I can't remember, but I know that there was an engineer there, and his name was Larry DeCarmine. And Larry, we had a conversation. He said, hey, I'm an engineer for Living Color, for Vernon Reid and all those guys, and you want to get into engineering and you want to learn how to do this stuff, show up at this studio at this time. And I just went. And I didn't go to school for it. And I think that some people are just wired that way. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, like everybody knows I don't play the sex card. I don't play that gender bullshit, because I feel like if you make music, right? So it wasn't like, oh my God, I'm going to be the first female to, I'm not into that kind of thing. You know what I mean? So I got the opportunity to actually just be around the right people and learn the right thing. And at that time, we had a bunch of studios in New York where you could go and get an internship at Sony and Hit Factory. And at the time, I was working at Manhattan Set of Studios. And basically, when I worked on the project with Vernon Reid, I was miking the band. I was, making XLR cables. I was wiring the studio. I was answering phones, getting coffee, getting the sandwiches. Like, doing everything I needed to do to be in that studio, to be in that room, to earn my keep. Like when you're around people like that, you have to have something to offer. And so I offered my time, I offered my services, and I learned a lot. So I did a lot of reading, and I just got deep into it. I fell in love with technology. And I think by default, when you're in a studio working with giants like that, professionals like that, it's contagious. After a while, can't help but that shit stick on you. You know what I'm saying? So, because I was around Larry, and Larry was a technical guy. Like, he would ask me questions like, okay, I'm going to play something for you. Is this a reverb, or did I actually create a delay? So I had to analyze records, and I had to analyze things and understand how did that process happen. Can I actually dissect this? So with those chops, and then I had to, I had to mic up a drum set. I had to understand what a C12 mic was. I had to understand what an SM57 was. I had to understand between a dynamic mic, a condenser mic, a tube. I had to learn every aspect of recording, right? So I came up a little different. I didn't come up as a bedroom producer. I came up straight up pro. Like I started off, learning how to use an SSL. You know what I'm saying? So I was SSL. I actually had to learn how to become proficient in the bedroom studio because everything I worked on was pro knee boards, SSL boards, H3000, reverb units, I had to figure out how to, get synth to work, right? Like stripe and tape, slice and tape. So when I came up, I had to actually, I had to figure this shit out, So because if you didn't figure it out, you couldn't be in the room. It's not like, I got these homies. I didn't have friends that were like, just come sit here while we make our record and you can just be cool and like, here's a drum machine, figure it out. I had to actually work and learn how to do it. After that project was done, it was a full project, it was an album. The studio itself was like, hey, we want to keep you here, and we want you to work with the studio because we like your work ethic. And so from there, I got to work with the Philharmonic. I got to learn how to mic up full orchestras. So it's years and years and years of actually doing that brought me to where I am now. So all that information, I applied it to my digital software now. Like all those applications all kind of follows each other,
Right. Wow.
I don't know if I
well, that's dope because that's good because what I find is that obviously everything we do in software, well, mostly everything, there's some innovation there, but mostly everything is emulation of the real world and what happened before, all of that stuff. So it's good that you came up from that point. Go.
The question you had about women, what was the question exactly?
Well, it wasn't. It was more of an acknowledgement, and I wanted to know like how you got into what you're doing. Because the thing is, it seems like women in beat making and music making and production is kind of minority. I don't meet many. I've tried to find them to because I think that's something that should be lifted up and heralded. You know what I mean? I know a few, but it's not many.
There are many. There's so many women out there making beats, producing records, writing records. Now, are you saying women in terms of black women, or just women in general?
Women in general and beat making, the stuff that we do. I just don't meet many. Maybe there's many out there. I don't meet many. I don't come across any.
There are tons of them out there, but I think the whole perception of this, once you put female in front of it, to me it kind of like it dilutes it. It's like
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I feel that.
If you meet a producer, you meet a producer. What?
Right,
not funny, but her having a vagina is like, okay, right? So, like, it's obvious she's a woman, right? So, like, just I think we should just start judging people based on what they bring to the table. You know what I mean?
I've noticed that when women, when the term females before producer, it's almost like a shock factor. It's like female producer, like wow, check out what she does, and then
it's almost like saying, wow, a female could do this.
Yeah, exactly.
Be able to do it. Like I'm a woman, so I don't understand how a man feels when they see that, but I just know when I see a guy producing, I don't go, wow, a male producer? He's capable of making a beat. Like if I did that to a guy, he'd look at me like I was crazy, right? Like, wow, you have a penis and you're making beats. Wow. Who does that? That's ridiculous, right? But
I could dig that.
Seriously, though, like, when I go, and I'm going to use, if I go to a gynecologist, if a man walks in the room, I'm not going to go, oh my goodness, it's a male gynecologist, right? He's a doctor.
Right.
Is it going to be a female surgeon or a male surgeon? Really, guys, and only in hip hop though. Only in hip hop is.
Yeah, that's true. Hip hop has those things where sexist and ageist. The age, how that word goes, where it's age version of sexist. So yeah, all of that stuff is in hip hop.
I mean, but for me, you know, if I met a 16-year-old girl and she says, "Hey, Stoni, you know, I'm inspired by what you're doing and I want to do what you're doing," I'm just as flattered as if I met a 16-year-old boy and he said to me, "Hey, Stoni, I'm excited by what you're doing and you're inspiring me." So I get it on both ends. I get little boys and little girls and women and men that come up to me and say, "Hey, I like what you're doing." So for me, you know, it's just about sharing with people. I don't get into this whole, because I'm a woman, I want to have, no. I mean, I just do good work. Good quality work.
I could dig that.
And you'll get.
I could dig that.
Yeah.
Word. So the other thing is, how'd you end up, because I just saw, not just saw, but a couple weeks ago, maybe, when was it that that Roli dropped the artist profile on you? I thought that was real dope. How'd you end up hooking up with Roli with that?
Well, actually, I work with Roli. I work with the R&D department, you know, and we're working on, you know, new software and new hardware. You know, Roli's a startup company based in London, and they're doing some really, really cool. They're doing some really amazing things for the technology industry, and their ideas. I mean, the things that's to come is going to blow your mind. You know, I was fortunate enough to have the relationships over the years with different people, and they approached me. You know, they said, "Hey, you know, we watched the work that you were doing with Machine. We watched the work that you were doing with Native Instruments, and we'd like you to come here and work with us." And I was just like, absolutely. You know, like, you know, they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. And when I got there, just the culture and everything that they were doing was just so, you know, different than what I had been used to. And the artist profile, you know, the cool thing about Roli was they actually see the people that work with them and the talents that are there already. And so they, you know, they were like, "Hey, let's profile you. Let's talk about what you're doing, and let's how you're using what, you know, what we're making." And so the way that I use the Rise is different than how other people are using it. So they want to, you know, they asked me to do the video, and I just said, absolutely, I would love to share.
Dope. That's dope. Yeah, it turned out really dope. I liked it. I know we all shared it and stuff.
You know, and I want to shout out TJ and the whole like film team. Like I mean, Roli has their own teams to do everything, and they're just all professional and amazing. Will is one of the guys who wrote the actual article, and Lily was the like she was the one who kind of put the film together. You know, Lily and TJ, and they're amazing. You'll see more video profiles coming too, and everybody's talking about the Rise. The Rise is the actual Seaboard. Seaboard Rise is the controller that I was using in the video.
Yeah.
There'll be a bunch of videos coming after mine. There's another group, there's another band that their video's out right now, and there'll be more artist profiles coming. So they're showing people how this stuff is being used in true form.
Okay. Dope,
They've been getting a lot of really great buzz lately too, because of they had Marco Parisi did that Jimi Hendrix rendition.
I mean, let's just say this: Marco Parisi he's brilliant. I mean, he's probably the illest dude on the Seaboard. You know, he's a genius on that thing. You know,
I'll tell you what, when I saw him, my jaw dropped, and I've been to a decent amount of NAMMs. I've seen a lot of performances, but when I saw that guy rock that thing, I mean, he was impressive. You know.
Let me tell you guys, I'm gonna honestly say I was fortunate enough to be in a private meeting with Marco, Stevie Wonder, and what I saw. I'm not a keyboardist, you know, but I mean, these guys. Marco's a virtuoso. He's brilliant. The things that I saw them doing with this Seaboard, man, it's going to change the way that people approach making music.
And they just got a huge like $27 million investment too. So,
I mean,
you know, Roli's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, we got to keep the lights on. Right?
Yeah, exactly. But it was just really great to see like a music technology company that, you know, when this thing started, a lot of people felt that it was really a fringe item, you know, and it's getting a lot of attention, a lot of investment money, and it looks like Roli is here to stay, you know.
Well, I think anything that shows proof of concept. You know, when Machine first came out, you can even open up plugins in the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? You know, so
very clearly.
everything starts from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, I personally think everything is not for everybody.
Right.
Everything's not
Yeah, that's very true.
So, some people like driving stick shift. Some people like driving automatic. It depends on what inspires you. You know, it took me a while to get into the Rise, but then once you start using it, now when I go to a regular keyboard controller, I'm looking to shake the sounds of my hands, and I can't do it. It's just certain.
Right.
Keyboard, you know what I mean? So, yeah, once you get it and you're in it, it's hard to like use anything else.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how sensitive that thing is too. I mean, you can literally do like finger drumming on the keyboard itself because it's so sensitive.
And the cool thing is you don't have to actually touch the actual note. You can actually hit underneath the pad itself, you know? So let me show you.
Yeah, it's got that little flat bar area. It's above and below it, isn't it?
Right, like right here. You can actually hit like this part here. So if I have this note here, I could still tap the bottom here and get the same note.
Oh, nice.
Get the same note. And then it has the XY pad here, so I could still like assign this XY pad to different parameters. You know. And you guys know how it works, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it.
So you
I've
know
actually touched it.
The joint feel like an alien, man. It feel like an alien.
It does. It feel like skin or something.
Yeah, it feel like a living organism.
Hey, Stoni, what on the underside of that, was that? I gotta ask. Was it green under there? Like I thought I saw something.
Oh, look at Kid.
I saw it.
Oh, in my business. It's the case.
Yeah, but it's neon green, so it's like.
Yeah, I got the neon green one. They got the blue. They got different colors.
Yeah, but you know me. You know I gotta have that green. Like that's gotta be in my life.
Man, Ken sees green and he just has to talk about it, man.
Dude, I love. Oh man.
So Ken, this actually brings me to like the first topic, and I don't know if we don't have to really touch on this too long, but you know, the first thing is iOS apps. Now I can remember about a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, I think almost definitely me and Bryce and Joe and you, there was a lot of apps that had our attention, like ridiculously had our attention, right? And then I don't know. I don't hear us talking about apps no more and synth apps. And I don't know what happened.
Hey, Kurt, can I say something?
Yeah, go for it.
No, don't spank me for this, but I'm just getting into the iOS apps, and you know, being a freshman with the iOS apps, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like the iPad is like my new instrument.
Yeah, that's dope, because that's the way we were all, but I wonder what happened to that.
Yeah, I feel like it's my new instrument, and then all the old stuff, because you probably think it's old stuff, but for me, it's like, oh my God,
that's dope. It's new.
I'm playing around with like the Nave and the, gadget.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I found this, man. I found that there's been a big change in the way that I use my iPad. So I've had it for a while now, but I just recently upgraded to get an Air 2 because the most recent app that I'm personally working on is I'm doing some sound design for Arturia's iSpark. And because of that, you need an Air or above in order to work with it. But one of the awesome things is that you can have a dedicated Spark LE controller working with the app. So you can use it as a completely standalone drum machine. You just plug this into USB connection into the little controller, and it's a standalone drum machine. You know what I mean? Like, to me, that's crazy.
Is it compatible to anything else besides the
Spark LE controller? Yeah.
Now, can I Bluetooth it to something?
No, it's not Bluetooth though. Like it's a USB connection. So, and that's where something like the Rise comes in, where you can do Bluetooth with that. Which I gotta get on board there. But what I found is I use it primarily as either like sometimes I'll use it as an alternative control surface. There's certain apps out there. That like what is it, MIDI Designer and a few others that are really great MIDI apps to control things. I've got an app on here called Patch Morpher that you can use with the Prophet 12, and you can morph between all these different patches. It'll actually give you basically, like I use the Prophet 12 module, and it'll give you all the onboard controls of a Prophet 12 right there on the screen. Yeah, which is really great. And the other day I opened up BeatHawk from UVI and just was kind of playing around with the new iPad, and I found that you can run that thing at 64 samples, it's like 1.6 milliseconds latency, and it has no problems at all. And it works like it works like a MV8000 or MPC or whatever, and it has no latency. We're talking hardware fast, and it's in this little thing. Yeah. So it's like I keep it with me wherever I go because I can use it. So I just did this.
The can drops off the screen.
I just did this.
Oh boy! Here he goes with this thing.
Because I love portable things.
Do you use iOS apps?
I was gonna ask D Steele the same thing.
Okay, so I actually use a lot of iOS apps.
Okay.
There's a lot of little drum synths. There's a lot of good sequencers. The one that I'm really interested in right now is the combination of two things. I think the Roli in combination with Animoog, or the Roli in combination with the new Moog, which I think
System 15.
So
why don't you make sure you hit me up and we could talk about it offline.
Okay, yeah. So just that's something that I'm like my brain is going.
Yeah, no.
You're gonna be that Moog Animoog supports the Roli, right? Oh yeah, that's right. They said something about the System 15 working.
Right.
I didn't know Animoog. I'm just saying I didn't know Animoog did. That's tight.
Okay, yeah. So what's crazy is that iOS apps, a lot of people they sleep on them because they're like, oh, this is a toy. But for instance, iMPC Pro, just that by itself.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's my favorite beat machine on the iOS. First of all, because you could turn the quantize off.
Right. Yeah.
No doubt. So I can have a human feel on that joint. That's the one thing that I always look for in any sequencer.
Same here.
Can I turn the quantize feature off?
That's me, man.
And if I can do that, I can treat the iOS devices as good as my my regular hardware synths and
right.
So do you record the audio in or are you MIDIing it up? How are you using it exactly with your production environment right now?
So I do both. So sometimes I run my iPad through guitar pedals and then do crazy stuff just use a raw sound out of my iPad. And then the new the new OS allows you to create aggregate devices.
Yep.
With the iOS device, so with the USB, with the lightning cable hooked up, you can stream audio right into your DAW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's dope.
It is.
But is that for Mac users though? That's
Mac only.
Okay. Yeah.
And they also have there's also that Ableton link now also, which
that's not audio though.
Yeah, it's not audio, but it's I think it's really Ableton
integrate.
Link is like wished on
actually, I'm using Studio Mux. I'm actually using Studio Mux with the link option for Ableton. So if you get Studio Mux and you hook it up to the lightning cable with the iPad and you go directly into your laptop, it'll actually translate the audio and the MIDI.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to set it up. You want to have Studio Mux, and then you also want to get something called the SP Link.
Okay.
But the Studio Mux is going to give you both. It's going to give you the MIDI Mux and the Audio Mux in one. And it's called Studio Mux, Studio MUX.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. And then if you're using a Mac, just lightning cable. That's all you need, and it actually records the audio directly into it.
I have one more thing though, Bryce, and and I'll share this with all you guys. I use this app called Audrio.
Okay.
And Audrio is an app and a VST plugin. So basically, any app that you're running on your phone wirelessly connects to a VST plugin in whatever DAW you have, and you could just play stuff here and it records into the DAW.
Oh, that's nice.
It's called Audrio, Audreio, and I paid $20. But anytime I wanna like send audio, let's say I make a loop on something here, I don't even have to connect the lightning cable. I could just wirelessly transmit
That's dope.
audio.
That's dope.
What's the latency like with that?
It's not that bad, but honestly, for me, it's just for creating samples, so I'm not syncing it in time all the time. I'm just like sending the audio,
Right.
truncating stuff, and then
Yeah, and that's a lot faster than going like doing an export to Dropbox and then bringing it in and doing all that. Yeah.
I absolutely hate that system.
I hate that. Yeah.
It's a closed
Well, that's the thing. So that's the whole thing with me. I think that's what got me. Like, I found that I had a pause in my workflow just so that I could get this audio or get this whatever I was doing on my iPad to my computer. And so then it got to a point, well, when I was using the MPC a lot, I would just kind of run the audio and just sample it, and it would be no problem. But yeah, I think the more steps you have to go through to get that integrated, the less likely I am to deal with it.
Yeah. And I think I don't know what iPad do you have, Corey? I have
the iPad Mini. I don't know if there's different versions of that, but I have the iPad Mini. I've had it like about a year.
Okay. Because I know me and Joe probably have the oldest iPads here. Like, he has an iPad 2. I have an iPad 3. And for me, like, when I first started getting into iOS apps, they were dope, but I found that with time, the iPad starts to struggle for me. So just doing stuff real smooth and quick and fast becomes an issue, you know? And then so I can only really do so much with it. You know.
Well, I'll tell you
that's what I was gonna say, man. Like, I still dig it, but for me, it's like every time they update the OS, it's like my iPad gets slower. So it's like
you gotta watch the product cycles, though, man. It's just like if you're going to buy Complete from Native Instruments. You don't buy right away. You buy on the product cycles. You watch what's happening. Like, I sold my iPad 4 32 gig for $250, right? A month later, I bought the iPad Air 2 64 gig for $100 more. So for $350. Boom.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. That makes sense.
You just gotta watch the product cycle.
I guess. And then for me, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Joe.
I'm just saying, like, for me, you know, that all sounds good, and then it's like, okay, I can do that, but I'd rather buy hardware.
No, I hear you.
Hardware always wins out for me at the end of the day, right? So like,
I don't have enough hardware.
What'd you say, Stoni?
That's because St. Joe got that palace down there.
We all need more hardware.
Let me ask you guys this: who's using what apps are you guys using on the iPad for controlling things?
Oh, I use this one called LK for Ableton. It's so great.
Really, LK?
Yeah, so LK it has the things that Ableton Push 2 is missing. Like
so
quarters.
Do you using it with push?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you see that smile? See that smile?
Yeah. Yes, man.
Right.
Yeah, I have
What you
that
got
app.
there,
I have that app.
This is Harmonix, and it's the most basic app. All it is it's basically like a hexagon style harmonic keyboard. Super basic stuff. And yeah, I've got a Push 2 that can do a lot of that same stuff. But I like this just because you can set up your scalings and everything so easy, and you can just fly right through it. So really great to just, it's just a very simple, straightforward app to get, scalings and keyboards and harmonic things going on the way.
Man, I have so many apps like that. I have so many apps like that, man. Like
Uncle Willie, you don't use iOS apps, man?
Oh, I was all off into it about 2 years ago, maybe. And I had every app that came out. Like, I was just buying app after app after app.
Yeah.
I was trying to do videos on them and everything, but it came down to a point where I just, the touch screen, it irritates my fingers, man. It gets to the point where I don't like tapping on that screen.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. I'm gonna tell you what happened with Willie. He went modular. That's what happened. Like, that's what happened. That was it. That changed everything.
Really.
That changed everything for him. He started selling off all of his synths and everything. He wouldn't mess with apps no more.
Yeah, you saying
he's like,
modular?
Man, that's a module. He's like, I can spend that on a module.
So what you got, Ken?
Record polypad. That's the other.
Oh yeah, that's dope.
Yeah.
Actually, I like, that's one of my favorite. I think I reviewed that one too. But so, what's the dope drum machines on there? And I'm gonna tell you, this is my thing with apps. When I had my bigger, the regular size iPad, I used apps a lot, and I had I had a whole little rig on my desk. Like, there was a little stand that kind of leaned off real nice. I could put that up there with I had the cable, the MIDI, and everything. It was all fancy and cold, right? And then I noticed, like you said, when I upgraded the operating system, things started getting a little slower. So I updated, or I went and traded in, upgraded my iPad for a faster one and the latest one, and I got the iPad Mini. My wife told me, he's like, you use that thing a lot. You want less real estate on your screen? And I was like, yeah, this is the way to go. You know what I mean? And she was like, okay, I see you doing all your synth stuff on there, and it seemed like you need more screen. Well, anyway, I got the Mini, and I'll tell you, since I've gotten the Mini, I have barely touched an app. Now, I don't know if that's because I've gotten into other stuff or what, but I barely touched the app. And, I took my little fancy rig and set up all down, and right now, this is nothing more than an internet browser and a hardware manual reader.
Well, you know what? It's really great for that. I use it for manuals all the time. I love it for that.
I do that. Yeah. I use it
Yeah.
for manuals and different stuff like that.
So Corey, if you don't use that, what have you transitioned into using?
Oh, well, you know what? Lately, I think basically Joe. Yeah. So lately it's been more. You can see what I haven't been using, right?
Word?
Yeah. You see, that's on the floor. That ain't even. Yeah, I haven't been using it. I've been transitioning to this guy.
Is that the Ren?
That was a Ren. So I've been using Push 2 lately and getting to learn Push 2, right? But then, I've been into the modular stuff too.
Right?
So
there it goes.
Ooh, let me see that modular.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So
man.
Jelly, y'all need to donate a modular to me or something.
And shout out to Art for the ears, man, because look at the engraving on that case. Shout out to Art for the ears for that.
Let me see if I can lift it up a little bit. Let's see.
Stoni, peep the engraving.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, Corey went all out. He went all out.
That's pretty. Well,
It took him like 2 weeks.
halfway.
Yeah, it took him like, I believe it was 10 days. It was
like the full 2 weeks. It was like 10 days. The case was full. It wasn't what the case. What? Not only was his case full, he got another case because he ran out of space. He said, "Oh man, I need a new case." You just got this.
Yeah, how did that happen?
he was like ashamed to tell us. We were looking at him and be like, man, are those new modules?
Yeah, he was just show it. And we'd be like, hold up, time out. That's new.
It should be my surprise. I saw an Instagram video with like 1,000 modules in this case.
Yes.
I haven't even bought power yet.
Well, let me tell you though. This is what I had to rationalize it because I was like, this is dangerous, man. I didn't plan on going that fast, and so I think what happened is, I reviewed Pittsburgh Modulars, was the System Cell 90 or something like that.
It was the hybrid system.
Yeah, it was the hybrid system. So I reviewed that, and I had it for months, and I couldn't afford to actually cop it and keep it when it came time to send it back. But then, I just like that idea of a system. Now, there was a point when I said, you don't have to worry with systems. Just buy like a module here and there, kind of build your own thing. But I think once I got the case and I had 2 modules, I kept feeling like, I haven't realized my goal here. I'm used to buying a synthesizer. It's all there.
Right.
It's like having a refrigerator with no meats in it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember back in the day your grandma would have a deep freezer and it's full of stuff, big chunks of butter and steaks and chickens and stuff. So I had to do that with that. Like, this was my big chunk of butter, my deep freezer. I needed to throw them big chunks of butter and stuff in there because I felt like I had a half a thing going right here.
Right.
So now I feel like I can really dig in and learn what I need to learn and really start to use it.
You know what, Corey? It feels like I'm almost going the opposite direction because I used to have a whole bunch of like the motif and different synths and stuff like that, and I actually stripped everything down to just having the push and the machine, and I have my sub 37, of course.
No doubt.
But I've actually I'm like all in the box now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I'm starting to feel like I need to bring analog back into the loop. Like, you guys got me ready to go.
Well, I'll tell you. You know what happened for me?
And I stripped down to the simplicity because I wanted to focus more on using the stuff than having all the stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Word.
Like, I
that
had
makes
all
total
the stuff,
sense.
but I didn't get a chance to get. So I just stripped it down. I stripped everything down to bare bones and just started all over again.
Yeah.
That's good.
Like when you
there's
it's like getting your first piece, and then you're like, okay, I mastered the MP, and then now I'm gonna go do this and add this. Like, you didn't add anything onto your MPC until you understood what it did, and then you added things on. Like, I actually went back. I just stripped all the way down. Yep.
No, I can respect that. Actually, I
got a
understand.
fast in that 8-out card in my MPC right away.
Oh, right away.
Matter of fact, I ripped apart a S3000 XL rack sampler to get that card out of there and that 8-out thing out of it, and then I resold it.
Oh shit!
Oh my god! So now we know Ken is like the dude that will sell you a VCR, but it'd be a brick in the box.
No, actually, you know what? You could get the S3000, not the XL, but the S3000 without the 8-outs and without the effects card in it, and that's what I sold it as. I said, you have that now. It might say XL on the case, but read the freaking description. It says does not have that in there. I was upfront about it. But I bought it
that's good.
for the same that I sold it for, and I got 8 outs.
That means you made a profit because you kept part of the kit.
Ken is like the Fred Sanford of gear. he got everything. He got parts and pieces for everything. Like, anytime, if I'm missing something, I'll be like, yo, Ken, man, I need a foot for this type of synth. He's like, I think I might have one of those. I think I might have one. Like, I need this specific knob. He's like, yeah, I got like 2 of those.
Look, this is my imitation of Ken. Like, what you say? Well, hold on.
Yep, exactly.
Then he comes back with like 3 of them.
Everything within arm's reach is the key.
Word up. So okay, listen. I wanna get into now. I was gonna ask like what kind of drum. I don't know if we talk about like drum machine apps on there, but I just want to jump right into drum machines because I know my man Bryce just picked up a rhythm, and it's debatable on whether or not that joint is ready for prime time.
I don't know if it's the proper time for him because he kind of salty right now.
Yeah, I'm a little salty, but
we might have to revisit after he gets the replacement.
Yeah, no, but you know, once it's running, you know, about 15 minutes of that buzzing, then it's good. So.
You talking about the Akai joint?
No, the Electron.
No, Electron.
Oh.
The Electron, yeah. So the one I got. When I connect it to Overbridge, I get this like buzzing tone for about 15 minutes. Yeah, you want to see it?
Crazy.
It sounds like a VCA is stuck open. Like when he connects it. I mean, I listen to it. It's not a ground loop hum or anything. I mean, it's loud. It's like.
Oh yeah. This was dope.
Yeah,
mine's ready to fight.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so
let's talk about it. We got the Tempest and we got the rhythm. I own a rhythm, and Bryce has a rhythm, but he gonna get that joint replaced so it work right.
D Steele's got his Tomcat.
So,
I got Tomcat, and I'm about to own a rhythm too. So
I got a rhythm wolf.
You ready to jump into that? You got rhythm wolf. Hey Willie, you got a drum machine over there too, don't you?
No,
he got rid of it.
He's had them all though. He's had them all. He's had all of them.
Yeah, that's true. So let's everybody know out there. If you look at, you ain't got no drum machine. Look at what you doing.
I'm slacking. I don't got one either.
I'm also about to get a 2500 again.
You gotta get that.
You gonna get that 2500?
Yeah, I have to.
Okay.
Just in case the end of the world happens and they wipe all VSTs off of the internet.
Right.
I got a 2500. Does that count?
That's kind of why.
That counts a drum machine as far as I'm concerned.
That's kind of why I picked up the 1000. Like even though like I've got other MPCs also. I got the bigger MPCs, but at the same time I was like,
too, you know?
Well then I got a beat bang if we talking samplers.
I
mean that's still a drum machine too. It's got sounds in it.
Well, I was
that joint is dope, man.
I was thinking we were gonna stick with like the analog stuff.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about drum machines.
Yeah,
okay,
let's
go with that.
Okay, we'll stick to analog. All right, Zell? We'll stick to analog.
Here's what we're gonna go with. Let's talk about. I want to hear Ken talk about contrasting the rhythm with the Tempest.
Because he had both. Let's not forget that.
He had both. And I love my rhythm. I mean, I don't see that going nowhere. But I want to know like the contrast on that, Ken, on those two.
So I'll say this. I had both. I sold the rhythm not because I didn't like it. I sold the rhythm because of the workflow. Like that, realistically, I would even. I mean, the Tempest versus the rhythm, they sound very different. Like it's like the difference between a street fighter and a mixed martial artist. It's like somebody who's refined versus somebody who gets gritty. You know what I mean? So the rhythm.
So who's the refined one?
The refined one would honestly be the rhythm. Like it has a very it has a much smoother character about it. It's very it's slick. It's Leisure Suit Larry. It's got effects in it. It's got like this kind of smooth tail. But it's also, I mean, like the kick drums in it are super punchy.
Man, they are.
Mm-hmm. It's got a lot of punch. Now the Tempest, on the other hand, realistically the big differences are the rhythm kind of has. Its voices are structured in a very specific way. The kick drum or the bass drum is a bass drum, and then it has different variances on how they work that bass drum magic. But the bass drum is a bass drum, whereas on the Tempest, that doesn't exist. The Tempest is 6 monophonic voices all together. Like 6 very complex monophonic voices. I mean, we're talking 4 oscillators, 2 of them are analog, plus a sub oscillator, and then 2 digital
Well,
oscillators.
let me say in there with the rhythm, because that's exactly it's by design that they didn't just give you voices, they gave you, what do they call it, their engine, but they specifically designed engines tailored to the particular instrument.
Exactly.
So you got like your kick drum engine, and it may not have all the stuff that your snare or hi-hat engine may have, because it's tailored for you getting the best kind of kick drum that you can get. Right. You know what I mean? So that's what's dope about it.
I want to say something to somebody on the outside. I want to say something to somebody on the outside, and I want to say this for the audience. This really shows how personal gear is. Like, it really fits your personality. Because if you listen to Ken when he explained it, he was like, the rhythm is more leisure suit, more clean, more refined, and the Tempest is more raw. Now, we'll take that. Look at Ken's studio and look at Bryce and Corey's studio. It's the personality, right? Bryce and Corey got everything like boom, 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 boom. Ken is like, I need to be able to do whatever I want at any time.
And to their music versus my music, like Bryce and Corey have a much smoother tone to their music than mine. Mine tends to be much more boom bap, like raw stuff, whereas they have like this more like West Coast kind of interesting swing bounce stuff that has a much more smooth vibe about it. Like my drums tend to be much more gritty and trash canny, for a lack of a better word.
It goes back to what Stoni was saying earlier about what inspires you, like what you click with. Like, everything isn't for everybody, and I just think that was perfect the way Ken explained it. And then to kind of look at, okay, we see the guys that have the rhythm, and we see the guys that have the Tempest. Even D Steele was talking about, I'm about to get a rhythm. Like, and then if you look at like just their personalities in their setup, is totally different than if we look at Ken, the Fred Sanford. It's like, okay.
Listen, I'll say this. There is one side of that is in direct contradiction to that, and that is the actual build quality of the Tempest, like the actual physical form factor and everything.
Right.
In my opinion, blows the rhythm out the water. It's not even close. Like, the Tempest feels so much better in your hands.
That's why I want to Tempest.
The drum pads feel better. The screen is better. The knobs feel better. Like, everything about the design is better. And that was a major factor for me, because I'm a sound designer. I like to create raw sounds from the gate. Now, granted, the rhythm would allow me to upload my samples, but uploading them and then working with that terrible screen and the way that those knobs are laid out, it was not. It just didn't interest me.
Now, Ken, hold up the Tempest right quick.
Like, that's what, if I had a drum machine, that's where I would go. Honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I like the way it looks.
Personally, like,
it's great.
Yeah.
And it's metal and wood, and then it has those knobs. Are those the same knobs that are on some of their synths?
Yeah.
See, I like the knobs that I can actually shape them physically with my fingers.
Yeah.
But
Bryce,
but the Tempest, I will say.
Hold on.
The Tempest
Bryce, hold up the rhythm right quick.
We'll hold them both up.
See, that rhythm is sexy to me, yo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but
the rhythm is sexy, but I will tell you the knobs are plastic.
It looks better in pictures than you feel like it does in person, because now turn it on its side and you see how boxy it is. You see how it's screwed together. Like, it's
Hold up the rhythm, and then Bryce, put your finger on one of the pads.
Yeah, the pads are really small.
Watch his fingers swallow. That's what Your pads are so small, man.
Exactly.
I don't know, because the pads on push too are almost the same size, so we're being.
But you know what? They don't have the same type of velocity sensitivity. They don't have that same type of response. They're nothing like the push pads. Like, don't disgrace the push by talking about the rhythm in the same.
No, I'm just talking about size.
Look, to be fair, the pads are small, but I don't find them a problem at all.
They're not really meant for finger drumming.
They're
either.
not.
Like, it's a totally different design aesthetic.
It is. It's a different vibe completely.
That's the other thing, is that the rhythm, you could tell it was made for step programming type of people, and people who are like, It definitely has a lot of live performance stuff, but to me, it really lends itself more to a studio piece. Whereas the Tempest, on the other hand, honestly, like, you could talk all day long about Dave Smith and Roger Lynn and all the lineage, but the fact of the matter is, if you're expecting an MPC type sequencer when you get this, you're in for a rude awakening. This thing is meant for live performance. The sequencer in the Tempest is actually really, really similar to if you were just using one or two groups on Machine. Like, it functions almost identical to how the Machine sequencer works.
Right.
So it's all about live performance on the Tempest.
I have a question, Ken, real quick. What's the sequencer like? Can you turn the quantize off?
I think it's 96 PPQ, right?
It's 96 PPQ, so it gives you that old school kind of swing feel of like the older MPCs. You can turn the quantize off. There's a lot of really, like, I want to smack you in your face kind of quirks in the Tempest that, like, make you really angry that you know, Roger Lynn's name is on it, because you're like, oh, well, I thought I was buying a Roger Lynn sequencer, and then you get to find out, like, oh, swing is only global, not per pad, and then you start finding out a lot of, like, really ugly things. The processor that they put in the Tempest was really underpowered for what it is. You can only sequence one MIDI channel external. And when I say that, I do not mean one MIDI cable. I mean one channel, not 16 channels, one channel, okay? You cannot sequence polyphonically, okay? You can... there's a lot of these little things in there like that make you question why it was so expensive when it came out. For the money, it's still the best drum machine out there.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Corey. It's a drum machine, though, you know?
It's not short. Like, here's what we're used to. Let me tell you, Ken, here's what we're used to.
But when you look at Dave Smith and Roger Lynn's name on the product, and you see all the press material hearkening back to the MPC sequencer, you kind of expect, oh, well, then they must know that we want this to be a centerpiece. You know, they must know that we want this to be our main sequencer. No, that's not what it's intended to be at all. There's a lot of little things about it. There was a petition online for the bugs to be fixed in this thing. Finally, Roger Lynn came on board after hearing about it and has responded and said, yes, you know, we will address these things. So even though they had stopped development on the Tempest, now apparently it's back in development. So apparently the bugs are going to be fixed. There's a lot of, like, really silly bugs in it. But apparently that stuff's going to be
worked out. How long has that product been on the market? How long has that joint been on the market for it to have that many bugs?
4 or 5 years now?
Yeah, been like 4 or 5 years. Bad.
And that's the thing, is it's a premium price product too. So it left a lot of bad taste in a lot of people's mouths because of that. Like I said, for me, the biggest issue is the lack of foresight, because there's not enough memory and there's a very underpowered CPU. So they had talked, and honestly, up until like 6 months ago, it might even still be up there, there were parts on the website, Dave Smith's website, where you could see where it was saying there is a possibility that you could add your own samples to it later. Well, it came out later on that no, there's no possibility of that being added into it. The memory and the way that the processor is set up, it would be too difficult. So it's never going to happen for the Tempest, which
that sucks.
It's like,
yeah, that does.
It was kind of put out there. It can't do it yet, but if you're patient, it'll happen. You know.
Well, let me tell you. I'm gonna tell you. I know people that bought the Tempest. One, because they, you know, it was what it was and how it was advertised. But I know people that copped it because they anticipated what was being said about at some point you'd be able to load samples and stuff.
There was a lot of.
There's a lot of that comes out now that you can't do it. You won't be able to do it, and it ain't gonna happen.
I think that was a pretty big misstep on the DSI side of things, where they were, you know, saying things before they had finished them, you know, and they put the Tempest out before the operating system was actually even finished, which it was a big misstep. You know, they were using people paying $2,000 for a drum machine as beta testers. And then there's Bryce. There's Bryce.
He just plugged up the
He plugged in the rhythm.
Yep. See. See, when it cools down, it does that. That's fun. Yep. See what I mean? Yeah, man.
No.
Yeah.
That joint need to go.
I know, man. I know.
And
That's
that was Bryce's rhythm.
Hold on. See, that's horrible. Let me just say, I have a rhythm right over here. It did that when it had the old OS on it, and it don't do that no more. Bryce is broken. It's broken.
Yeah, it's broken, man.
And he literally got it, what, 2 days ago?
I just got it 2 days ago, man. And the thing is when it cools down, it's something with the analog oscillators in there, because when it cools down, it does that every time I power it up.
Dude. Yeah. There's a beehive in your electron, bro.
Yeah, and it's only with Overbridge. If I disconnect it from Overbridge, it doesn't do that. So I have to turn it off.
So, like, hey, Joe, just to contrast and compare. So Bryce, you spent what, like somewhere around like $1,500 for that drum machine?
Yep.
Okay, and mine, it's about an $1,800 drum machine. So, hey, just to contrast. Joe, your Beat Thang or your Korg Electribe 2 that you recently got, have you had any of those types of glaring flaws?
Well,
at the $600 price point, are you dealing with the bugs that we're dealing with?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some, but it's not a drum machine like yours. Like, I can't really craft drums on it. They're more samplers than anything. So,
Sure.
Now I will say, the rhythm I like in concept, like with the engines and all the different stuff. I just don't like the interface. The Tempest interface is more my style because it's more right up front, more hands-on, a lot less menu diving. If they had a rhythm that was like kind of like exploded, you know what I'm saying, and had a different interface, and
I totally agree.
I agree with that 100%.
That's what it is for me. Like the stuff that you can do with the rhythm is dope to me. Like I would love to have it, but it's like, after having that analog 4 and and even loving the sound, it was like at the end of the day, I just couldn't get with the interface. It was too much menu diving.
I feel like that's all the electrical stuff, though.
Yeah,
it is.
They're real powerful. Like the fact that Octatrack is like Ableton Live in a box.
Yep, that's true.
It's like, it's dope, but it would have been great if you would have done an Overbridge for Octatrack, because that would have just changed the game completely.
Yeah.
But I guess R&D's not focusing on that right now.
I just can't. I can't get with that interface.
You know what, their build quality always feels to me like the build quality still feels like their roots a lot. Like the build quality of those boxes, even though they're looking prettier and prettier with each new model, they still feel very boxy. They still feel very much DIY. Like
I think that's I think that's their character.
That's their thing. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just think they need to up their game on the hardware design front. I mean, like if they made one that was as slick as something like the Push-2 controller or the MPC Studio controller, or like one of those slicker products that out there. Oh man, agree. That would be great.
What they need to do is come back and Octatrack and rhythm.
Oh, that would be dope.
What was that, Corey?
But you know what? I don't like that when you saying that, Ken, because it's making me look at my rhythm like, you could
I'm a hard person to please, though. Like, I'm the kind of guy that like I enjoy finding flaws in gear. So don't. Like, the things that I say, like, when I talk about the flaws of the Tempest, I still say the Tempest is in, like, my top 3 drum machines of all time. Like, it's amazing. It's just that I'm that nerdy. I'm that nerdy guy.
Hold up your drum machine. The modular one in the back.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I got my other drum machine right here.
The real drum machine.
Okay, hold on. Let me unplug some cables.
Oh,
here we go. Here we go.
You see him, Stoni? He gotta unplug a million things back there. You see this?
Oh, don't get Ken started. He gonna go in the closet on your ass.
Yeah, you don't want that. So hold on. So I built this up. I decided I wanted to put my drum modules all in one row.
Bro,
this is my modular drum machine. So. And I have modules that are up in the case, but this is like, if I just want to grab, what I'll do is I'll take the Arturia Beat Step Pro and this, and I got a drum machine, and then I also have I got clouds in there for reverb and glitching and delay. But yeah, I've got.
Hey, Ken, tell us each component that's in there.
Okay, so I have the Mixman from Animodule, which is my main mixer, and it does some CV offset and stuff. Then I have the Mutable Instruments Clouds. That's for reverb, delay, effects. Then I have the Thomas Henry Mega Percussive Synthesizer. I primarily will use this as a kick drum. It's a complex kick drum. It does it's got the shell, the beater, and the noise section on it, and you can completely sculpt all of that. All right.
I need that.
Then I have the DIY Orgon accumulator in here, and I had the retail version up in my bigger case, but I've put the DIY in here one, just because I always use it as a drum module. So the other one is better for switching between modes. And then I have the Audio Damage Neuron, which is a digital FM drum voice.
That drum is fly.
Yeah, the Neuron is insane. I mean, I primarily use it as a percussive element. So it does everything from cymbals to tom-toms to hi-hats to
cowbell.
Snares. It does all kinds of different stuff.
Cowbell. More cowbell.
yeah, and definitely more cowbell. This is the modular drum machine that I'm using right now. So, and I think soon I'm hoping to add a hex inverter mutant snare. And I tend to run this thing through. I have the mutant hot glue compressor.
Nice.
I like running through that a lot too. It's fantastic, man. I love that thing. It's got an awesome distortion on it. It's got a great compressor on it, and you can, it just kind of ties everything together. I send all of my stuff through it.
So let me ask a question. What about these drum? Actually, that's a dope piece you got there, Ken. You basically built a drum machine, the brain box of a drum machine. All you need is a controller or something to connect to it. It's dope.
Yeah,
but let me ask you this. Here we got. How much are the Akai drum machines going for? $300, $400 or so?
Which one? The controllers?
Either one. No, the actual drum machines.
I thought they was
the Tomcat Wolf Dogs. And all
they're like one. They're like one.
Oh, they're like $200, I think.
$200, yeah. They're not bad.
$200? Okay, so you got those $200, and you got the Rhythm at $1,400, $1,500. Then you got the Tempest at $2,000 point blank, and then I start to think. So all these drum machines that are running around, and you got cats that are buying drum kits in droves for $20 a kit, and throw it into the machine and throw it into the REN or the studio or whatever you may have. What's the real appeal? Why? Listen, I know what I like about my Rhythm, and I'll tell you the first month I had it, I started second guessing, do I need this? Until I really dug in and started tweaking the thing and really digging up and coming up with my own sound and stuff. But what's the appeal to a drum machine versus a cat that could just go buy a refill for his sampler?
I'll tell you right.
Yeah, let's hear it.
As a drummer, I have a collection of snare drums that's insane right now. If I'll show you a closet in my house of snare drums, it's just insane. Because
I'm stunting. He's stunting. You see that shit?
No. So the reason why drum machines are important. The reason why drum machines are important because all of them are different. They all have a different color. They all have a different swing to them. They all have different features. So the more drum machines you have, the more options you have in color and in palette. You say well, I love the snare drum on the Volta Beats. Well, if it's modded, I like the snare drum. And then I like the kick drum. I like the kick drum from the Rhythm Wolf. So now you're starting to develop all these different things that when dudes go out and buy these packs, they don't have the options of saying, I want to create my own sound from scratch. Because I'm running my drum machines through guitar pedals, through 500 series, different rack thing, all these different things that I have the options from the beginning.
Man, that's dope. That's dope, man. Yeah.
Right. But isn't that the difference between a sound designer versus a producer? Some producers don't want to craft the sound; they'll just ask, I don't know if you want to say producer versus beat maker, but they'll buy a kit and buy thousands of kits because that's what we do.
That's a great question for Stoni. That's a great question for Stoni because I would like to hear what Stoni thinks. What you would say to that, Stoni? Would you rather design your own sounds, or would you rather use some sounds that you get?
I think it's about skill set, and I think it's about how deep you're into this shit, bro. Like, like I'm a nerd. I'm gonna sit there and dissect the drum kit, and I'm gonna take all the sounds I can get, all the samples. But there's a difference between getting a sampled kick, and there's a difference between actually having a drum synth that you can sit and actually craft and shape, and you can create stuff with oscillators and different, frequency waves. I mean, me personally, I want to. If I could have all of it, I would use all of it. But sometimes it gets clouded. If you're a sound design person, you definitely want all the drum machines. If you're a sound design person, you should have everything. Ken designs sounds. He should have all those things at his disposal. I got a chance to hang out with Rich Divine at his house. I got to Rich's crib. Rich was like, yo, let me take you downstairs. And as I'm walking down, it's like I'm walking into the fucking Enterprise, bro. I was like, what the fuck is going on in here? And I'm going down the steps, and you get into the dude's studio without revealing too much. He had a back room, and at the time I was selling my MPC 5000. In his back room, he had the SP1200, he had the 5000. I was like, bro, I'm about to sell that. He was like, you're selling it? Why? He had everything that cats are like, yo, I'm going to get rid of this and get the new shit. He had everything because he's a sound designer.
Right.
That's money. That's how he makes, that's how he gets his sound. So he has all that. But as a producer, beat maker, it depends on how deep it is. If you're about that life, then you're going to want the option to do it all. If you're somebody just buying drum kits, throwing it up at Fruity Loops, then you're just making beats, bro.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, even as a sound designer, even as a sound designer, I'm also a producer. Like when I'm making beats, like I would say I would say a good 60% of the time I'm not making sounds when I'm making beats. Like it's two different things. Like a lot of I'll dig into my catalog of what I already made, but a lot of the times, dude, that's why I love machines so much, is because I already have so many kits that I've made on it that it's like I can just load it up and go.
But you heard what you just said? You have so many kits that you made on it. You're already there. You none of us in this room could ever be the average person that buys sounds.
Yeah, I agree.
We're all way into the game of technology.
Yeah.
Just be that regular dude that buys sounds and makes beats.
But y'all know me. When it gets to sound design, y'all know what I say. I'm like, man, I'm not doing all that. And I will say this. When I got my little couple modules and I started messing around and I made a kick drum, I was like, oh snap.
Well, that's what I was about to say, man.
I was like, oh shoot.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is a lot of it, even though there's the whole sound design aspect of it, a lot of it is we actually generally enthusiastically enjoy sound as a whole. And
so it was like
fun. Ken, like when I made a kick out of Massive for the first time, I was just like, oh my God, I made a kick drum out of a synth. I was fucked up. I was just like, okay, this is a whole nother beast going on. After doing that, I can never go back to just grabbing a sample.
You can't justify it. You can't.
When I got this thing, I didn't get it just for sound. I got it because, damn it, I'm gonna sit here and I'm sitting here jamming on it. Come on, man. I might send it through 35 guitar pedals or something, but come on. And I modified the snare drum in it, but come on, it's I did it for fun.
It is different. It's different when you make your own, though.
Can we say this though? It's about, for me personally, it's about the process.
Yeah.
I'm in love with the process. I'm in love with creating a shitty kick and a shitty snare, and then turning it into something bananas. I love going back, going, wow, this sounds really bad, and then I made it sound amazing. I feel like you're an architect. You know.
Right.
Yeah. So that's it, Stoni. That's the thing. Like, it's a part of the production and a part of the process. I'm making beats, but I'm also making. That's what made me start to say I'm gonna put out my own kits, because I'm making my drums as I'm making the beats. And you may make something that if you hear it alone, the drum, the kick, the whatever it is, you may be like, nobody can ever use that. But then when you put it into something ill, like the composition is ill, and then everybody hear it and be like, where the hell you get that from? Right?
Yeah.
It also separates. It also separates like the legends from just the regular dudes. Because I just read this article on how Prince used the Lindrum, right?
Oh.
And the fact that Prince did things with the Lindrum that people were like, whoa, wait a minute, how'd you get it to do that? Like, how'd you get it to do that groove? And, you know, so for me, I'm just like, man, that's why I want to know how every machine that I get works. Because I want to be able to treat it as a drum set where I can express myself completely. Or like an instrument. And that's what I feel about drum machines. Hard sequence, like VSTs are cool, but number one, all VSTs sound the same. Like, you know, all VSTs.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I disagree with you. I don't agree with that.
No, I don't mean all VSTs sound the same in that aspect. I mean that Corry can have soft tube heartbeat and I have soft tube heartbeat, and it's the same. It's going through the same ones and zeros in our computers.
That's a great thing.
I'm gonna tell you why that happens. The reason why that happens, and it's a culture thing, because what you're discussing is a culture thing. Prince came up in a certain era.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where he had the Linn drum. He didn't have 14 different drum machines like that he could mess around with.
Yeah.
Whereas now you got the push, you got machine, you got.
No, of course.
You got too many different options, right? But to me, the reason why you would say something like that is because people don't spend enough time on their shit, bro.
Yeah.
They don't. They get the basics. I can sequence, I can sample. I'm ready to go, right?
Yeah.
So like the average person that's using a machine is not taking a sine wave and creating an instrument with it. They just they're loading up drums, they're making a sequence, and yo, my shit is crazy, nigga. You know, like, but cats are not taking these things and taking it to the next level.
Right.
Oh, definitely. No, I definitely agree with you 100%. But that's why I feel like you don't have that option when you just paid $2,000 for a drum machine. You need to learn everything that you can.
Right.
You just put $2,000 into that.
That's true. That's a good point.
The issue is a lot of these dudes are pirating software, and they're just like, oh, you know what? When I see this person has a new software, I'm just gonna go pirate that and not even bother to learn.
Well, that's because they're not in love with the. They're not in love with the team. They're not in love with the process. We're all nerds here. I would be doing this whether I was talking to you or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would be by myself. I don't need to have a conversation, you know, with somebody in order to be inspired.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like, I know a lot of cats, like, they actually talk to me so they can go, okay, now I'm excited, let me go and do this. No. Then this is not about that life. That life. That means, like, you actually live it. Like, Ken actually lives it. You know, we have kids, we're parents, but we still find a way to actually get into this different softwares and all of us have lives, right? So
eat, sleep, and breathe it.
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, I always used to be the guy that was against drum machines. I'm like, man, I don't really mess with drum machines. Like I said, until I got my little filter module and I made it kick just from the mini brute, just the brute oscillator. I didn't have any oscillator. I just used the brute factor turned up, and I filtered it in a way. I'm like, yo, and to see if I was able to make a kick that I like, the type of kick that I like, I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, time out. And I'm like, maybe there's something to this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's when the light bulb goes on, yo. That's when the light bulb goes on. You know, and I think that's the big thing for me. That's the choosing of a drum machine where you know, there's so much to it when you start to dig into it, and people like literally, because I share a lot of beats on Instagram, and I can't. It's innumerable amounts of times that people will say, where in the hell did you get that kick from, or that snare from, or that thing from, or that, you know? And it's like, yo, I crafted that on this thing, and then you know what? Bryce will have that same machine because he just bought one when they replaced it with working one. But when he gets one, what I know also with that is that we got the same machine, but his usage of it is going to sound totally different than my usage of it.
You guys don't have the same ear either.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yep, and that's what the key is.
That's the thing is nowadays, you know, going back to what you guys were saying is nowadays there are a lot more analog drum machines and a lot more digital drum machines and a lot more hybrid drum machines out there than there
and affordable ones too. Like you don't even have to do $2,000.
There's ones out there now that you know are just amazing. Like I'm pulling up on sharing my screen here. This little guy right here, I had a friend of mine bring one into the studio, and it sounds
fantastic. Amazing.
Its workflow is crazy. Like it works not like any other drum machine I've used.
What is it, like $700 or something?
Well, it depends on where you live. Honestly, they range pretty heavily in price, so you got to watch. But they also have lower cost models that they just came out with. The Tans mouse and the other one. I forget what the other one.
They have the Tans bar light and the
Tans bar light and the Tans mouse.
And then those new ones, Corey, that you were just showing me that they got at PC a week or two ago. Yeah, those too. And I would recommend, like, anybody that wants to experiment or mess around with hardware drum machines, even what Daniel Steele has been doing with those little pocket operators, man. You can get a lot of good stuff out of those, even those, you know. So
those are crazy. I love those pocket operators.
Man, you get some crazy sounds out of those, man. It's like, wow.
But again, you have things like Waldorf's Attack, you know, the iOS app. You've got iSpark, stuff like that. These things all work. Really not much different from an actual standalone drum machine, except that instead of a physical knob, you're sliding things, or if you can connect it up to a MIDI controller, you're good to go. But like these things will work just like a standalone drum machine. You know what I mean? Like it's not the barrier to entry of a proper synthesized kick drum or synthesized snare drum is not what it used to be. You know?
True that.
Word.
The master has spoken.
D Steele mentioned that soft tube. What was it called? Heartbeat.
Yeah, I love that.
Sounds good.
I love it. It's amazing.
What was that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Soft by Soft
Heartbeat.
Good, man.
I don't know.
It's a soft
just
tube.
like a hardware drum machine would be.
And it's called Heartbeat, like your heartbeat. And it's a dope drum machine. I reviewed it, and I remember soft tube Heartbeat. Yeah, no, it's on the computer. It's a VST. But I remember. Yeah, when I reviewed it, I remember telling Bryce and Joe, like, yo, my mind is blown. Yeah. Like, I pushed it up in my review. Yeah. It was supposed to be like behind 5 things. It is limited, but it sounds good.
If they put that into an actual physical hardware box, it could be just like a nice digital hardware box. Oh, I would love it. I would. If they had that in the box of like that Roland TR8, that Ira thing. Put that thing in a box like that, and I'll buy it all day long. Like that thing.
I still don't understand.
That's the other thing. That the TR8 is out there. That's another viable option, but I'm not into that. Though.
Willie has one, right? Willie's got his right there.
Yeah, Willie.
I just don't ever show it because y'all be talking about it so bad.
I don't talk bad about it.
I don't think it's bad. For me, it's just like I have like extremely high qualities of the 808. I got them in 96K, like all the 808 samples, like just recorded. So for me, I'm like I could just use any sequencer rather than using the TR8. That's just my feeling.
It gets back to that workflow and that hands-on fun, you know?
Yeah.
That's it for me, man. Like it's that interaction at the end of the day.
I kept the TRA simply because it's for Instagram videos when I do like sounds, and like drums to kind of like show off what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Modular, then I don't want to have to sculpt drums on the modular, so I just actually use the TR8. It's a nice little background.
Right.
Yeah, I like the TR8, man. I thought it was cool, man. I just don't like all that green flashing colors, man, and like.
Right.
Talk about green. Green, you know what I
Did he
mean?
say he didn't like all that green?
Man.
Nah, you know that's my thing with the TR8 though. I don't like it. Looks ugly. It's horrible looking. It's uninspiring. It turns me off. The TR8 is like an ugly chick.
Right?
I'm sorry. I can't love you, baby.
Hold on, let me pull this up. Have you seen the vintage TR8 skin?
That's why I keep my TRA hidden.
Yeah,
Stoni,
I'm gonna pull this up. You gotta
what was
see
that,
this.
Stoni?
I think Stoni has a question.
Yeah, Stoni had a question.
Sure, I got a question for you guys, and I just want to hear your opinion about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ken posted up something yesterday, right? And I just wanted to have like a conversation about it because I think me and St. Joe had a conversation about it also, where he said, why do I keep unplugging my push 2 and plugging back in the machine, right? So now me and St. Joe had a conversation like that, I think last month, and I said the same thing to St. Joe, and St. Joe said to me, he goes, well, you know, that's because you're so used to using the machine so much that it's taking you a minute to become acclimated to the way that the push 2 works, right? But my question is it really that we know the machine so well, or is it that the machine's browser is just that much more fluid? And
got a lot.
Browser.
or is it mental? Is it, you know, like I want to have a discussion about becoming stuck also. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it that Ken and I are stuck in this one particular, or any producer for that matter, is stuck on the MPC versus this or versus that? What do you guys?
Can I say something about that real quick? Okay, Ableton versus Machine. So I spent about a year and a half, 2 years working solely in Machine.
Right.
And then I got Ableton 8 weighted, and I got Push.
Ableton. I'm talking about Push.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting to. So I got Push, the first one right when it came out, and then Push 2. So to me, the workflow, Ableton is much deeper than Machine. Like you can do way more. Like as far as creativity. Let me not say creativity. Just it's a more powerful tool.
Oh no, you could say creativity. There's just things that you could do in it that you
that you can't do in Machine. Right. So when I'm working on Push, I feel like it brings all of that to my fingertips. So I have all that power right there on Push. Whereas Machine feels limited in some of the workflow areas and things that I might want to do, like, for example, audio tracks. Just one thing right there.
Yeah.
Working in Ableton just brings it all to the surface for me.
Right.
And,
I still think that Machine Sampler is ultra accessible really fast.
Definitely.
I feel like the fact that I have the studio, so I can press any one of my inputs. Oh, that's dope. I can press any one of my inputs, and boom, I'm ready to sample a source in. With Push 2, I'm still like, I gotta route this audio track to this on my interface and do all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then the whole converting to a track, or the new update with the beta has that, but the thing is,
convert it to a pad. Yeah,
there's multiple steps to create a sample.
Yeah.
And
I still feel like Machine sampling is still the fastest sampler on the market. That's MPC, that's Push, that's anything. It's so quick to sample and start manipulating that audio. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't expect. It goes back to what you were saying about drum machines. Like, you can't expect everything to work the same. Like, everything has its own workflow. Everything has its own personality.
But in defense of Push 2, what I love about Push 2 is that the features that are included in Ableton are included in Push 2. There's certain things that I do not understand why Machine first of all, you have a killer program like Battery 4 that has all these features for drums.
Don't get us started, man.
And you
Not
don't
get us started.
No, wait, I have to say it. I have to say it because the world needs to hear it. So have a killer drum program like Battery, but I can't do any of this stuff on a pad in machine.
But the question is, it's not really machine versus Ableton. The question is, when you find yourself not progressing to something else because of being in one particular platform. You know what I'm saying? Like Ken was saying, I find myself going back to machine again. Yeah. Is it that the person is stuck, or is it just that?
I don't think they're stuck.
Let's speak to that. Yeah, speak to that.
The thing is, like, okay, so myself, right? I'm not a machine dude. I have a machine. I've used machine. I just never really jived with it, so I've always been more of a MPC dude. And a while back, went with, started doing the Ren. I had the studio, and so that's where I am. I'm an MPC dude. But I know that Ableton or Push 2 can, like, open new horizons for me, and I already know that. But the one thing I do know is that I'm fluid on the MPC. I could fly around that joint. I could help braid my daughter's hair or something and be tapping at something. I could do a million like that. I know that thing like the back of my hand, and like I've even showed people like my workflow, and people just be looking like, M Simp was here one day and he was like, "You do that?" You know what I mean? But that's my workflow. I'm quick on the MPC. And I can pump out, like, Bryce will be telling me, like, how you got made like 20 beats today? You know what I'm saying? I'm fluid on it. So to your question, Stoni, like, I've unplugged the Ren and put it on the side, as you can see, on purpose, because I know if I don't, I'm not gonna give the time that I need to give to Push 2 to really learn it and grow. Right. And I know because I have both of them set up, and I'll keep sliding over to the Ren and doing things. Right. You know what I mean? So I have to unplug it. And even now, as I'm learning Push, it's coming slowly, and I can make my grooves sound like my grooves, right? My joints sound like my joints, no matter what I'm using. But what I notice is I'm slower on there, and then there's those moments when I have to stop and be like, I want to do this thing. How do I do this thing?
Right. But those moments are important. Those moments are important because those are the moments that you decide, am I going to continue to push, no pun intended,
right?
Am I going to continue to push to get deeper into the knowledge of this device, or what happens is because in society we have accessibility that's crazy to everything. We're just like, I'm gonna use this rather than this.
Well, hold on. Let me say this. The reason why I keep on plugging it, right? The reason why I keep on plugging it is because I got deadlines to make. I got a lot of things I got to do, and I'm like, well, damn it, I can turn on my machine studio, and I know that I'll be done in a quarter of the time. I'll be done on this. Now, I also know that if I use the Push, I'll be able to dive way deeper. But I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I don't need those features right now because I'm using Outboard. So I'm just like boom, boom, boom.
I think for me, it's like a lot of learning a new DAW or like Push or whatever modular, a new drum machine is when you get into that experience of learning that new instrument. You a lot of times run into new things that actually open up your imagination. So you come across new features, new functionality that wasn't in the old or other DAW you were using. So now, like, you're thinking a different way, and you're like, oh snap, I can use this in this way and do something new and creative, and that's what and I'm not saying.
Let me say something also. I also believe that, to add to what you're saying, I also believe that it's okay to go slow.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to take your time and go slow because the one word I hear that's really common in our circle, in our production world is, I want it fast. I want it fast.
Well, but if you got a deadline approaching, you better get it done.
I mean, Ken, deadline, that's a profession. I get that, but I'm saying everything that you do fast doesn't mean it's good.
That's true.
No, I agree. Right? I agree.
So
listen, straight up, straight up, I like this controller more. This controller is built better. It feels better. The drum pads are amazing.
You don't use that thing at all. It's still got the plastic
development team is listening.
Let me say this though. The browser in machine, that browser is killer. I'm sorry.
It is.
That
But
browser
I'll tell you what. The older browser. The 1.8 browser was better, to be honest with you. But here's one thing I will say is that realistically, I think if Ableton adds proper routing selection from the hardware, and rearranging those sorts of things, then I think I won't have any excuse. Then I'll be like, I'm good to go. Because I do. I mean, you can see all the cables and everything around here. My studio is always a mess, not just because I'm messy. That's part of it. I have ADD. That's part of it. But a lot of it is because I'm literally rerouting things like every other minute in here. I'm constantly changing things. So it's important for me on my controller to be able to change the routings, to hurry up and get my sampling set up however I need it, and do those sorts of things, So, I mean, there's certain things that I do with that machine workflow that's way slower than if I was to just use like Sample Manager or something. I could mass edit all these samples all at once, but I do it the slower way because I know that I'll get a better quality product out of it.
Yeah, there you go.
So it's not 100% about time. It's also about comfortability, of getting the product that I want out of it.
Man, at the end of the day, we're talking about music, and so at the end of the day, it's all about what keeps you creative. I've always said that. Like, whatever you feel creative on, that's what you're gonna gravitate to. Like, I think there's this thing like, do we have to learn everything? Like, you don't have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to learn everything. You could just rock what you want to rock and be good. But it's like, if you want to learn something else, then you got to spend that time and get over that learning curve and all that different stuff. But if someone says, yeah, look, I tried it, it doesn't fit my workflow, I don't really feel it, I'm not digging it, then I'll be like, hey, cool, move on.
Yeah. Move on.
You don't have to, sell it, get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have to push through it if what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to do that.
I can't justify.
Add to that, if you're not having fun,
right?
If it's
that's
like
not
a headache.
I mean, I could say I could do a whole bunch of extra stuff in Pro Tools, but I have no desire because I hate Pro Tools. I don't like how it works, so I'm never going to learn it. I could do a lot of stuff probably that I can't do in other things, but I'm never going to use Pro Tools. I don't like it. That's just it. Somebody can tell me all day, you should learn it, you should spend time with it. I'm not going to do it. It doesn't make me feel creative.
I stopped using Pro Tools when it gave me that DAE error in version
Yeah. And
like, why would I buy something like this if it wasn't about that? This is digital.
Yeah.
It's all about that fun workflow.
Man. That joint is killer right there.
Yeah,
I'm loving it, by the way. It's super.
But it's ugly.
I'm making
I've
beats.
been posting a lot of Instagrams up of it.
Yeah, send that over to me, Ken, by the way. Hey, so listen. We're gonna wrap now because we're approaching 2 hours, and I tell you, I have enjoyed this show. We didn't get to all the subjects, but like the subject matter that we discussed was real dope. I think it'll be real helpful and entertaining none the least. So let me just kind of go around. I'll start with you, Bryce. You got anything you wanna say in closing while I pull up your site here?
Just it was a good show. Thanks for having me on, man. It's good to see Stoni again. I haven't seen you since NAMM. It's good to chop it up with you. I'm looking forward to your EP. Definitely looking forward to that. So keep us posted. But other than that, yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
Word. And because for some reason I'm having a problem sharing people's sites, I guess we'll just have to go on and give your sites shout outs.
It's all good.
Yeah, modular. I'm over at modularbeatsmith.com. Just it's a loosely based kind of my endeavors in modular, different things I appreciate about modular synths and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. And then I'm on Instagram at upright with a 1 instead of the I, upright, and then that's pretty much it, man.
Word up. And D Steele, what's up, man? So you got anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Well, obviously MSX Audio. You know, we always got sounds for cats to just do what they do. Right now, man, just check me out on SoundCloud and on Instagram, Steele Music, on Instagram, and yeah, I'm always trying to find a new sound. So y'all probably find me in the streets with a pair of drumsticks hitting on sword. Sword things. So that's all I'm doing all the time, man. So.
Word. It's always good to have you, man. Appreciate you.
Same here, brother. I'm glad to be here.
Big brother St. Joe. Hey, yo, you know, I got to say, what I think is this speaks to Joe's humility and the fact that he's more about community than he is himself. Because if you notice, St. Joe always spells his name with lowercase letters, but everything else is spelled with capital. And I know about that. I know cats that do that because, you know, they don't want to put themselves ahead of anyone. They're usually thinking of others first. So that's why I love you, bro. Anything you want to plug?
Man, y'all know me. Sounds and gear, push tutorials, machine tutorials. I got my modular series coming. So I got me one module. So kind of like Corey, me and him kind of discussed it because we kind of started at the same time. Don't expect me to look like him though. Like he expanded, but just kind of going through the process for cats like us that maybe are not into that, kind of getting into it, explaining what we're learning and stuff. So I got that coming, and then more reviews. Got an interview coming up with Stoni that's going to be on the channel. So same stuff, man. It's just always good to kick it with the homies, man. Kick it with the crew.
Word up, word up. It's good to have you, man. And I'm glad you're getting into modular too. And although I got these modules over here, I'm still learning. There's so much for me to dive into. So just like the other day, I got to do another episode. Just like the other day, I was like, this envelope ain't working right. And then then when I sat there, I was like, I don't know how to patch it right. So let's with that we're gonna go over to Flux 302 or Flex 302. He's showing his muscles
Flex
today.
302.
Get it up there.
No doubt.
Man, always staying busy is the prime situation. I'm real excited for Mother's Day tomorrow because
no doubt.
I feel like mothers need all the respect in the world, so I'm excited for that. So I'm gonna see my mom. I'm gonna take my wife out and do some nice things for her. I'm hoping that she wants to get like an espresso machine because I want an espresso. Let me just say right here and now, you'll notice that I spell my name with a big old capital letter up front because I got no humility at all. So I just I want to say just a couple quick things. Again, I did that article, the Prophet or Ultranova, a synth exploration, where I compared the two. It's got a video accompanying it. So please go over to fluxwithit.com and check that article out. I literally did it just for for nerds like us, that are interested in finding out quirks and how things are. You got to scroll down the site just a little bit because I just realized that I had actually published it with a password earlier, so there's another post before that, but that's fine. So definitely go check that out. The other thing I wanted to say, and it might be premature to say this, but we've pretty much locked down the day, is the 14th. So I believe is that next weekend?
Yeah.
Something like that. I think it's next weekend. Yeah, the 14th.
Saturday.
Glenn Darcy from Arturia is going to be on the show. I don't know if it's going to be the Synth Summit show or Producers Hangout. It all depends. So, but yeah, he is the product designer behind the Matrix Brute from Arturia. So it's definitely going to be a really, really interesting show. He's designed a ton of awesome products. He's the guy behind the MPK line from Akai.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's designed basically he's been the guy behind the MIDI controller game for a long time. He did the mini brutes, the micro brute, all that stuff. So
the limited edition Studio Logic joint.
You talking about the Sledge?
Yeah.
That's the other dude.
Yeah, that was Stefan Stencil and Pete Hartman.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah. So the 14th, Glenn Darcy will be on one of my shows. I've got the Producers Hangout and the Synth Summit show. It's going to be on one of those. So check that out, and I'm just happy to see everybody.
Yo, and we're going to come to Stoni last, but let's get Will in there. Will, you got anything you want to plug, brother?
First thing is, Ken needs to go last from now because I'm tired of following behind him and all his big news. So, I'm going to put him last from now. But now, for years, everybody's been asking me to make MPC expansions. So, thanks to St. Joe, I finally got me an MPC. So, I'll be making some expansions for the MPC coming up soon.
Yes, sir.
And my new products will probably be coming out on machinemasters.com. So, check me out over there.
Nice. All right, word. And Stoni, it's been so nice having you on the round table. You know, like I said, we're kind of like the view for beat makers. So I'm glad that you could make it and
definitely
jump on in there in the topics with us. You got anything you want to plug?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say thank you for having me. You know, I know all you guys personally, but it is an absolute pleasure sitting here. I mean, the time went by so fast. You guys are giving me life right now. Like I'm super excited, you know, about diving into into the modular world now. That gonna make me spend my damn money. But yeah, I mean, I'm currently working on my website. You know, if anybody's watching this that know about websites and want to like build, you know, make the site better, I'm definitely open to hear new ideas. But people can follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and it's Stoni's Music, STONIS Music, one word. You know, again, I mean, just, you know, follow me, and I'm working on, you know, mixing the EP right now, and you know, and have it out to share with everybody to enjoy, and you know, and add to their DJ rigs, and you know, dissect and learn more about production. And what else do I want to say? I mean, just thank you for having me, man. And oh yeah, so I did an article. There's an article out in Electronic Musicians.
That's right. Yeah.
They have a feature of me on their website. You can go and read that, and it goes more into depth about what you know, how I started and things of that sort. And I have other things that are about to come out as well. I haven't finalized it yet, but yeah, man, I'm just, you know, grateful to just be here and share. And man, great platform, and you know, I definitely would like to come back and chill with you guys again.
You're welcome anytime. You're down. You're a citizen. You sway in the morning. I mean, you'll beat people. So yeah, it's good to have you. I'm glad that you stopped by. Like I said, you're welcome any and every time. And you know, because it's always good to have all the different perspectives and stuff. And I think people really take away. No. I wasn't even thinking that. You shut that down. I wasn't even thinking that. I was saying it's good to have your perspective and everybody's perspective. So yeah, it's all good. So but feel free to come back. And so with y'all checking this out, I usually share everybody's website, but for some reason I can't share any websites. But I want you to be sure to go to all of our websites and support everybody. This is a movement. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than you. This is Beat People. You are Beat People. We're Beat People. We make beats and we make the world go round as far as I'm concerned. So make sure you visit beatpeople.com. You can pick up the Beat People hoodie. Not this black one just yet, but it has the white on it. The hoodies are there. The T-shirts are there. Different sound kits that I've designed are there, and there's more to come. As a matter of fact, I was just looking at my reel, and I got these like Zydeco type jazz drum breaks that I got that I'm planning on putting out next, and also SynthBap, which was supposed to be out a little earlier, is actually ready, and it should be out any day now. SynthBap Volume 1, which is, you know, kind of the stuff that I do where I incorporate like the boom bap sensibilities, but with a lot of synth and, you know, It's just the way I kind of build and do my thing. That Synthbat Volume 1 will be coming out soon, here within the next couple of weeks. And then Bryce and I have worked on something that's already finished with my man Dap, and so that's a project that'll be coming out shortly after Synthbat. So, you know, make sure you check out BBoyTech Report. Make sure you check out beatpeople.com, and we keep it bubbling like that. Check us out next time. This is usually going to be on the first Saturdays of every month. Maybe when I get through this year, we may do it, you know, twice as often, you know, 2 times a month. But right now it's monthly, and we appreciate y'all for checking us out. This is the Beat People. Signing out. Peace.
Oh, check out that talk show app.
Oh yeah, the talk show app.
We just started a new show on. There's a new app called Talk Show. It's a texting app, and we
only
started
for
a texting
iOS
show.
though.
Only
on
for iOS, but it's called Talk Show, and we have a show on there called, what is it? Synths, Samplers, and Sounds. The Gear Show.
Yep.
On there, you can join in and check us out, and it's just a conversation, and you can follow it along, and we talk about all kinds of different stuff. So check that out.
Yeah.
There's
also
I'm
glad you brought it up, King. I'm glad you brought it up, because what's dope about this app is kind of like the new Twitter, the new, you know, Instagram kind of thing like that. But what's dope about it is what you all probably don't realize is that all of us are texting all the time. Right? We're literally talking. What we're doing on this show, we're doing like all day, every day.
Right.
But what'll happen with you know, this, what's it called again? The
talk show.
Talk show.
With the talk show, it's basically like you kind of being a fly on the wall with our texts. So we're literally talking, and we learn a lot from each other. So we're literally sharing those things when we talk about, yo, what do you think of this module? What do you think of that drum machine? Or did y'all see they just announced so and so and so and so? This is us texting all the time, and that's what we're doing with the talk show. All of us are on there, and you know, feel free to check us out, and you know,
just be like a fly on the wall, you know?
Yeah. We learn a lot from each other, so we know you'll learn a lot from this stuff. So with that, we'll sign off, and we'll see you on the flip side on social media. Beat people.
Peace.
Happy Free Comic Book Day.